Hello, this is Susie Heath from essenceofwomanhood.com, and it's Valentine's Day tomorrow, a day which brings joy and laughter to some and despair and dread to others. So whether you're going to be gazing through candlelight at your lover's eyes tomorrow or making a delicious dinner and watching a great movie snuggled up on the sofa by yourself, you might ask the question, what is this thing called love? And is it love or chemistry? Remember the last time you were in love? Or as a teenager in love? The whole world looked misty, yet at the same time bright and shiny. Your body felt permanently on fire, filled with a joy and vitality and juiciness of passion. Your cells literally dancing with excitement. You walked around knowing that nobody in the history of humanity had ever felt so intensely, so full of utter pleasure, feeling pity for the poor beings who had never been touched by such desire, and knowing that you would feel like this until your dying breath. Every meal tasted like nectar. Some people's appetite is so stimulated that they devour more food than ever before. For others, they don't need food. They're living on love. It's a wonderful thing, chemistry. Thank heaven for its existence, because you are only here on the planet because of it. But in fact, in the madness stakes, it goes right to the top of the list. When we first meet someone new, it takes only seconds to scan them all over, like a robot from a sci-fi movie. Our senses perceive information about the symmetry of the face, how far apart their eyes are set, their physiology, the way they hold their body and its proportions, the size of their feet, thank you girls, the colour of their eyes, the subtle smell of their skin, and if it's a man looking at a woman, the size of her breasts and the width of her hips. But most of this is done unconsciously. My ex-husband at our wedding read out an amusing poem about choosing a suitable horse, checking the feet and the teeth before selecting it to see if it was suitable breeding material. Perhaps that's why he's my ex. So, that aside, what are we looking for? At an unconscious and instinctive level, someone dissimilar enough to ensure that if we have children together, that genetically and biologically our offspring would have some chance of survival. Very romantic, isn't it? But it's all about survival of the species, until, of course, we then override it with logic. Once you've caught someone's eye, then it's time for body chemistry to wake up, giving you regular doses of dopamine, which is as addictive as cocaine, giving you palpitations, suppressing your appetite, encouraging hyperactivity, raising your breathing rate, keeping you awake at night as you lovingly sigh for each other, stopping you thinking clearly and boosting your energy. Your blood pressure changes, your sex drive steps up several gears, and before you know it, you've fallen in love. While in this blissed out state, others look on knowingly as they see these effects of dopamine and testosterone coursing through your veins, knowing that at some stage this will change, despite the fact that you think it's going to go on further. If you then consummate this partnership, after orgasm, a woman's body floods with oxytocin for a few days, anything from 3 days to 3 weeks, which binds her emotionally and chemically to her lover. If you think about it, biologically, that would be time enough to discover if she was pregnant and to ensure she didn't mate with anyone else during that time. Nature is so clever. Again, survival of the species. But you now can see the problem with a one-night stand or sleeping with someone on a first date. Oxytocin is the same chemical that surges through a mother's body when she's breastfeeding her baby to keep her attached to this little creature who is so dependent on its mother for its continuing existence. And this keeps going until a child's about 2 years old. A man, once he has ejaculated, gets a surge of vasopressin, which temporarily depresses his sex drive by lowering his testosterone. So while normally he has enough sperm to impregnate the whole planet, this chemical ensures his attachment to his family and partner, and is even more apparent when he's in his caring parental role, holding the baby in his arms. Ain't nature clever? And the more he feels his personal and sexual needs are being met at home, the lower his sex drive, so he doesn't need to seek elsewhere. Which is why sometimes you need to spice it up a bit at home. As we get older, our body's priorities change as we're no longer dependent on the gene pool and no longer tied to that primal instinct to hunt for the parent for our unborn children and to procreate. So we have the choice then, in a long-term relationship, to form a more mature and deeply satisfying erotic love, which is why dating sites are on the increase. And the choice then comes more from compatibility rather than instinct. So the question is, where does passion end and where does love begin?